Okay, it's the Wall Street Crossover Show, sponsored by Admiral Markets, and we have here today the senior market commentator, Are you senior?
I feel senior, certainly. I'll be 50 in November, so I think that probably.
All right, well, it's just a few months older than me, that's a relief. Darren Sinden.
Good afternoon.
Right, what's on your mind today? We've got a bit of budget news.
Well, the weather first of all, because I've got a drenching on the way here. But yes, it's budget day. It's the start of the.
Is it an emergency budget?
Well, they're calling it that, but it's just, it's the first chance that George Osborne's had to flex his exchequer muscles. So
right, on his own, without any interference from anyone else.
It's also the first day of the Ashes Test. I've probably less said about that. The first day of the first Ashes Test, but less said about that for the moment.
Okay,
better. And lo and behold, there's yet another deadline for Greece.
Okay, 5 days, is it?
5 days now.
Well, not 24 hours now. It's 5 days.
Well, these things have never let the truth stand in the way of a good story, as Mark Twain said. So we await with bated breath. Though I'm not going to hold my breath for 5 days. I know.
Okay, all right. And any other sort of highlights on the horizon?
Well, I mean, we've got, as we'll see later, we've got some potentially interesting data points in the US, or at least talking points in the US this afternoon.
But we're still really focused on Europe. It's difficult.
Yeah, I think we are. Europe, and also with half an eye at least on China, where the situation is almost descending into the realms of farce, and yet European markets to some extent or Western markets generally seem relatively ring-fenced from that, but that's probably a discussion for another time. Yes,
okay, well let's move on to today's slides. The data released over the European session.
Relatively thin in terms of European data today, Zach, but we come back to an old talking point and a favourite of the show. UK house prices. Halifax UK house price index for June came out this morning. Year on year, we're now seeing house prices supposedly in the UK up by 9.6% versus the prior read of plus 8.6%. As we've said before, you pay your money and takes your choice with the house price data in the UK. It'd be nice to have one dependable and reliable data point. Halifax has always been on the more bullish side, I suppose. We'll have the nationwide numbers out in the near future, and they've tended to be a little bit more circumspect, as has indeed the RICS number, the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. Anyway, 9.6%. I haven't dug down into the nitty-gritty of this. It'd be interesting to see the regional mix, but that's potentially good news for George Osborne, I suppose, because we're all a bit better off. Speaking of Mr. Osborne, UK budget is ongoing, so I won't say too much about that, but the expectations were for him to fill out his policy pledge, in the manifesto pledge, if you will, about where he's going to find £12 billion of benefit cuts. The thinking was it's going to come from benefits to those people who are actually in work rather than those people who are out of work, and that they also might give us a bit of a heads up on a sale of some further state shareholdings, perhaps significant stakes in Royal Bank of Scotland.
Selling the family silver, it would appear.
Well,
or selling it back to the family that already bought it or something.
Well,
I mean, the other thing was just the benefit cuts, £12 billion. Doesn't seem to be a lot of money in terms of a saving, but it's enough to upset a lot of people. So it's a bit of a double hit in terms of that.
It is, but if you had to be completely brutally honest about it, it's possibly part of a change to try and shake up the situation in the UK, where a lot of people become used to receiving
big handouts,
big subsidies, and really we need to create better jobs for these people so they can actually earn a proper living wage, rather than be dependent on 20% of household income or something from the government. It's just not really the way for a modern economy to be working. And then
speaking of economies not working,
well, exactly, that's a nice segue, isn't it, into the Eurogroup meeting. Another one of those today. Greece is still the main topic. As we suggested at the top of the programme, there's a new 5-day deadline for them, and I heard a report as I came out that Alexis Tsipras is now talking about, is there a scope for a new 3-year bailout? The can keeps getting kicked down the road from side to side. It's again descending.
Yeah, but this is a new can and a new road.
A new can and a new road, but still no closer to resolution. Anyway, let's see what the next 5 days can bring.